From Iranian media that's reportedly released a footage that's showing retaliatory strikes hitting the US 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain. Those are the visuals, viewers, on your screens from these strikes at the US 5th Fleet. It is the 5th time that it has been struck, the US base in Bahrain. Moving on, in fact, a widening rift is now emerging within NATO as Poland refuses to deploy its Patriot air defense systems to support Trump's Iran campaign. Warsaw has prioritized protection of its own airspace and NATO's eastern flank, even as US stockpiles in the Middle East face strain. With more allies hesitant now to commit, the alliance appears increasingly divided over direct involvement in the escalating Iran conflict. Ambassador, when Trump had threatened to acquire Greenland, we had seen some fissures emerging in NATO, but finally it was all settled after the NATO chief Mark Rutte said that they are working to protect Greenland. Now, once again, with the war in Middle East, Trump publicly scolding NATO partners, what do you foresee for the organization?
Well, just to add to the points you made, and before that, let me make it clear that I entirely agree with what Major Ali Shah has said. Now, you spoke about NATO. France, Spain, and Italy have denied United States the use of their airspace for sending fighter aircraft to the Persian Gulf. So, NATO, but I wouldn't say that NATO is sort of crumbling, because this is not a war which was decided by the NATO Council. This is a war decided more by President Trump. In fact, I've been always saying that this is a war decided by two men, Netanyahu and Trump, not even by Israel and the United States. This is something very personal. Now, of course, it has its impact on NATO, but we all know that even before this, President Trump was dismissive of NATO. He has been saying United States has spent trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, and we have got nothing. He forgets that NATO member states had sent their soldiers, to Afghanistan and to Iraq, and they had casualties. But anyway, remembering history is not a strong point of President Trump. So I wouldn't attach too much importance to what is happening to NATO, because NATO, the European NATO, to my mind, has been getting it all wrong. They have demonized Putin, and so they want to prolong the Ukraine war without realizing that longer it takes, Ukraine loses more territory, Ukraine loses more of its power infrastructure, while Russia also may suffer. But comparatively speaking, Russia has a staying power and Ukraine doesn't have it. So it is foolish to continue a war which one is losing. But, Europeans are, what shall I say, in a state of mind where they find it difficult to understand what is happening in the world.